What? What the? Agartha? You're probably thinking to yourself, what the hell was all that? Well, if you're employed, you probably have no clue what you just saw, and for the longest time, I didn't either. You know, I would scroll Instagram more and more, and slowly uncover more lore. But here's the thing, there is so much inconsistency with Instagram Reels. You know, people make Agartha content, and then show people who wouldn't actually be in Agartha, like Epstein. I see Epstein all the time, but like, bro, he's Jewish. He would not be in Agartha. Anyway, if you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you have a very basic understanding of what Agartha is, so I'm going to actually try to help explain what the hell is all the schizophrenic nonsense that you see on Instagram and just on the internet in general. I am the right-wing Lutheran. This is a bit different than what I usually do in here, but going after the success of my What is Save Europe vid, if you haven't watched that, check it out. It's my most popular one. This is something similar. In this video, I will be going over what is Agartha, its schizophrenic roots, and then going on to its actual cultural significance. Let me tell you what I know thus far. And, you know, you can go ahead and correct me in the comments, because, God, this is not any consistent lore. You know, it's kind of like the SCP Foundation, where anyone can really add on to it, because it's so decentralized, and all you gotta do is go online, you know, make some Agartha edit, and be like, boom, new Agartha lore just dropped. Anyway, all of what I'm about to say is fake bullshit, but hey, it's fun to talk about, so we're gonna do that. Here we go. The Agartha lore is a bunch of conspiracy theories mixed together. You know, things from the Nation of Islam, like Greek and North, and in general, just pagan mythology. You see, Agartha is a mythical and hyper-advanced civilization that is inside Hollow Earth. There are various entrances to get into Agartha and are protected by Yakub's loyal servants. Who is Yakub, you may ask? Well, before you can even understand Yakub, you need to understand the Nation of Islam, which is kind of like the Mormons, but for Islam. The Nation of Islam was founded by Wallace Fard Muhammad in Detroit in 1930. The teachings are things such as black pride, black empowerment, economic empowerment, and separation from white society, asserting black people as the original race, and white people are devils. Notable members, of course, being Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. That's right, Muhammad Ali, the boxer guy. You know, crazy thought, you know, Muhammad Ali believed in the Yakub religion. But pretty much how the story goes is that 6,000 years ago, Yakub, a black scientist and godlike figure, is responsible for creating the white race through a process of selective breeding. This race created a challenging force in the world, and, you know, it's a very unique creation story. You know, it's supposed to be used to explain the origins of racial conflict and power dynamics within the world. You know, the guy that made it was in the 1930s America, so... Anyway, the story goes on to have, after Yakub created the white race and how they conquered the world, he was then banished to Hollow Earth by the rest of the Allahs, which is like... It's really weird, because it's like it was a bunch of different gods that like share power every so often, and this time it was like Yakub's turn. It's weird. It's all bullshit. Anyway, Yakub kind of becomes this like devil-like figure within the religion, you know, being cast out away for creating white people and whatnot. So, you know, he effectively becomes this religion's devil, Hollow Earth, you know, what would later become Agartha, only allowing the most pure of Yakub's children enter. So just so that we can establish this, Agartha is the place that Yakub got sent to within Hollow Earth, which is like, you know, I don't need to explain that. The Earth is hollow on the inside. It's not like a core. And so Agartha is supposed to be like the Nation of Islam's version of hell, but instead of it being like the Christian hell, where it's like, you know, burning for eternity and being separated from God, you just kind of plop down there with Yakub, and you're just going to be with a bunch of other racists that, you know, Yakub allows in. So instead of it being like hell where you don't want to go there, Agartha becomes this place where all these like mega racists are like, yeah, I want to go to Agartha. It's like, oh, okay, and that's kind of where all the memes will eventually come from, because it's like Agartha's like the super advanced mythical place where all these like piers of pure like white people live, and they of course this is like a wet dream for some some people. Anyway, Yakub's like the only black guy in Agartha because he made it, and he's supposed to be like your father if you're a white guy, which is I think you're starting to see why it's so funny to talk about, and why it's memed so much, because of how just utterly absurd it is. Anyway, there are various entrances to Agartha all around the world. The most famous being the caves of Tibet. Like I said, there's entrances all around the world, so there's like all these memes of these people like protecting the entrance to Agartha. Here, let me find a clip.
Yakub needs you to clutch the 1v4 to keep the entrance to Agartha and underpass hidden. Go, go, go!
Good work, my steady follower. Agartha awaits your arrival.
It's a funny clip. I'm still split on the whole, Aryan Charlie Kirk. This type of stuff AI's been. Yeah, you're just able to decimate anyone's legacy, make them do whatever the hell you want with AI. It's crazy. Of course, I can't be like a stickler about it either, because I laugh at offensive stuff all the time, and I can't have this like double standard when it comes to offensive stuff. So I can't. Anyway, that's besides the point. The point is that it's funny Agartha. All right, I'll go over this more later. But oh my God, the meme potential for this is just endless. Agartha is such an underrated meme. Like, so much more stuff could be used with it. Anyway, moving on. These entrances are heavily guarded, as I've just showed you. Yakub's servants are protecting the entrances from outsiders. So how does one even enter Agartha? Well, from what I can find, there are rigorous processes for one to enter Agartha, and it doesn't seem to be consistent whatsoever. If you're alive, you can go through the tunnels. You can try to get Yakub to choose you somehow. I'll play the clip.
How to get an Agarthan passport, Yakub edition. 1. Fax your bone density scan to Azerbaijan technology during lunar inversions. They don't recognize Gregorian office hours or weak femurs. 2. Stand atop a Mongolian phosphate mound and declare your lineage. If the wind responds in guilt, you're in. 3. Put on Sumerian AirPods and they'll play a 4D audio file of an entrepreneurial animal podcast on full blast. 4. Time travel via Qatar microwaves to a shadow consulate beneath Ashgabat. Negotiate with a shrimp-powered mammoth that communicates via vibes, not logic. If he nods, you're in.
See, this is what I'm talking about. There's so much funny stuff you could do with, all the things that you need to do to get into Agartha. It's so underrated. But pretty much, it's just like a bunch of random bullshit that you have to do, and then be chosen by Yakub, and yada, yada, yada. But it seems like if you die, and you're pure enough, or you're racist enough, you can enter Agartha. Because we see all kinds of dead people in Agartha. It's my personal headcanon that Hitler barely made it to Agartha, and that's the level of racist you have to be to get in. I just find that funny. Like I said, that's kind of the fun part of Agartha, is that with all the memes, you can kind of fold the lore and mold it into whatever you want. And the second you put something out there, it's no longer yours. It's whatever the viewer interprets it to be. It's just that level of schizo, and I love it. Anyway, staying on topic with Hitler. So, some Nazis believed that the Aryan race came from a place like Agartha, Hyperborea. Heinrich Himmler, the Reichsmarshal of the SS, believed that many, he believed in many esoteric things. One of those things being that the Aryan race came from some sort of super advanced civilization, either within Hollow Earth or super far up north past the Antarctic ice wall. And it's so much of this made sense to both him and other Nazis that they funded expeditions to go to Antarctica, try to get past the ice wall and try to go to Tibet and try to find the entrance to Agartha, or try to enter Hyperborea in the north. Like some Indiana Jones type shit. Of course, Nazis and esoteric stuff. That's what all the Indiana Jones movies are based off of anyway. The Ark of the Covenant, and then the Holy Grail. Anyway, I guess that's not esoteric. That's just, I guess, Christian stories. Anyway, my whole point being here is that the Nazis would go fund expeditions to these crazy places trying to find anything they could. One of the reasons in so many memes that there's like these Nazis there, because like, oh yeah, of course the Nazis went there. They were trying to, they were onto something about Agartha, and now that's why there's there. Duh. That of course. Why wouldn't the Nazis be there? Oh shoot! I just realized I haven't even gone over Hyperborea. Hyperborea is something similar to Agartha. It's the same, conspiracy theory. Like I said, the Agartha lore is just a bunch of conspiracy theories mixed together. And the Hyperborean conspiracy theory goes is that you go so far up into the Antarctic, there's like this huge ice wall that you'll eventually get to, where you can't get past it. But once you fly past it, there's like this huge huge continent that's as big as America, and once again, it's like a mythical and hyper advanced place where all these other people live, and it's kind of, once again, it's very very similar to Agartha, but just in the north, or like in the south, the very tips, the Antarctica or the Arctic, instead of being in Hollow Earth. Like I've been saying, Himmler believed that the Aryan race could have originated from these places, and that's why the Nazis were looking for it. The idea of Hyperborea sticks around today because of clips like these.
Have you ever been to Antarctica?
Yeah.
Do you believe in the ice wall?
Yeah, I saw the ice wall.
Well,
Yeah, he saw it too.
I can't say on stream.
No way, but
Cause
we'll talk about it later. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
He almost leaked it.
Let's just say you always need someone with you when you're in Antarctica.
Our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
So there you go. You got the one about Mr. Beast. Oh, he's being censored. He can't say about the ice wall. And you got the one with the Admiral. That's who knows what the Admiral saw. Anyway, that's why these conspiracy theories are probably sticking around. Anyway, once again, Hyperborea is different to Agartha, but it seems to be referenced about like the same amount of times. And people tend to mix it up a bunch with Agartha. Well, once again, they're very similar. Just one being in Hollow Earth, the other being in the north. Also, seems to be like there's a lot of white monster drinking for some reason. Like everybody's drinking white monster. They're drinking raw milk. Something about it makes you healthier, I guess. I don't know. Also, there's Vril. Like what the hell is Vril? Apparently Vril is like this spiritual energy force that can do anything from like healing you to like destroying things. They use it as like a power source, so it's like why they're so advanced. Anyway, it's I feel like it's schizophrenic talking right now. God. Anyway, these are some reasons why Agartha doesn't want to like expand to Earth, because they got like their little slice of heaven where they are. God. Anyway, let's review. Agartha is a place ruled over by Yakub, the man who made the white race. He lives within Hollow Earth, where he's created his advanced civilization using spiritual power to somehow create and use their technology. It's called Vril. This technology is for him and his children. And to get into Agartha while living, you'll have to be chosen by Yakub, and then you have to do an insane amount of tasks. Or if you died and you were racist enough or pure enough or whatever, you can meet Yakub and you can live in Agartha when you die. Now I've gone over what Agartha is and the prerequisites to getting in. Let's see if we can name some of the famous characters that can be seen throughout the Agartha memes. Of course, you have Yakub himself. You got Aryan Charlie Kirk. You got Adolf Hitler. You got Aryan Nick Fuentes. You got probably Donald Trump in the foreseeable future. And what you got? Ashtar Shiran. I could go on, and I'm gonna move on to the next part of the video. Cultural significance. Surprisingly enough, Agartha actually does have cultural significance. No, like seriously. In our modern day and age where attention is used as a currency, you just think of how much money companies pay for ads or politicians pay for campaigning anything. Anything that is able to grasp your attention is important. I'll give you the perfect example of how Agartha is actually culturally significant. Before I found out what Agartha even was, I would never even consider trying an energy drink. Hell, to this day I still dislike coffee. But over the course of late 2025, when I was exposed to Agartha via friends, via Instagram Reels, via just the internet in general, came to a breaking point when I was in a gas station with some of my friends. We were joking around about Agartha, we were listening to Agartha music in the car. And you know what? I thought, screw it. I'm going to buy a White Monster. I'm doing it for the memes, right? A bunch of my other friends had White Monsters as well. Because that's what true Agarthans drink. It was really funny because we were all drinking White Monsters as we were listening to a bunch of Agartha songs in the car. And, now every once and again I'll get a White Monster if I have to stay up late, or maybe it's a morning and I want to, prepare for a test or drink it before a test or something. It's crazy to me because beforehand I didn't even consider buying an energy drink. Didn't even touch it my entire life. But stupid internet meme, it made me want to buy something I'd never even considered consuming in the first place. And that right there is cultural significance. How what you watch and what you consume affects your real life decisions. Even though what we're talking about right now is complete and utter bullshit, talking about how to get to Agartha, because Yakub chose you, it still ended up affecting a real life decision of mine. Whether it be small as, I'm going to buy a White Monster. But that's culture. And if you ever want to shift culture, you have to do 1,000 tiny little things like that. Another example that's not just purely economic is, I think it was probably within the first week of school. It's like the first week, you're in new classes and whatnot, so you're assigned to sit next to random people. And as you sit next to random people, I remember I was sitting next to this one guy, and he was talking about something completely different, and then randomly he just says, "Yeah, that's how you make it to Agartha." In that moment, I was like, "Whoa, dude, no way! You know what Agartha is?" He's like, "Hell yeah, I know what Agartha is." And we sat there talking about Agartha for the next 10 minutes, and turns out, bro was very politically similar to me, and we're friends still to this day. It's so interesting to me that just this one word and phrase that he was able to say was able to let me see his political view without actually outright saying it. And I remember the rest of that class period, we just say Agartha references to each other, and the people around us were like, "What are you even talking about?" But me and him, we got the elite ball knowledge. And when it comes to the cultural significance of Agartha, it can be used as a dog whistle. For those of you that don't know, the term dog whistle when talking about politics is the uses of coded or suggested language that seems normal to the general public but carries a specific meaning. And just from this guy saying his little Agartha reference, we were able to get into a political discussion later on. And because he knew what Agartha was, I assumed he was right-wing, and I assumed he was religious to a certain extent, and I was right on the money. Of course, they call it a dog whistle because when you actually use a dog whistle, it's you blow it, and it's only certain frequencies that dogs can hear it. Just like how you say certain things, and only some people get the reference. It's like, once again, it's the elite ball knowledge. Last thing of note when it comes to the cultural significance is the music. I cannot tell you how important music is to any cultural phenomenon. And oh my God, the right. Once again, I said this in my Save Europe video, how the right has this power to take any song they want and alter its meanings because, like I just said, the way they use dog whistles. It's just so good to listen to a song and be like, oh yeah, I know the real meaning behind this song. You're listening to Land Down Under, and no, it's not about this guy going in Australia and going on like the Outback tour. No, it's about Yakub and Agartha. Oh my, it's so funny. It's so fun to do. And when all these pop songs have these hidden right-wing undertones, it changes the meaning of the song. I have a very broad sense of music. I listen to a bunch of classical stuff, and before recently, I used to listen to a bunch more historical pieces, historical songs. Now I listen to a bunch of quote-unquote pop songs, Just because they're the Agartha songs. They're the songs that you see in the Agartha edits and the Agartha memes. Sure, my music taste quote-unquote changed, but the reason stays the same. I listen to these songs because they have some sort of political undertones to them. Whether it be with L'Amour Toujours or YMCA actually having actual political undertones versus, Land Down Under where it's just, haha, Agartha. But it's the haha Agartha that can eventually lead you to ending up becoming more knowledgeable in other right-wing areas. Oh my god, I sound like a schizophrenic in this video. The second half of the video was a bit unscripted, so it probably went off the rails a little bit. And I'm just gonna wrap it up here. In conclusion, to answer the title of the video, Agartha is a mythical and hyper-advanced civilization where only those with blonde hair and blue eyes can enter, pure Aryan, pure white. Whether there can be exceptions or whether you die and ascend to that Aryan-like state is unknown. Whether you enter alive via the rigorous processes to get there. Yet behind this schizophrenic exterior, there are infinite meme potential, which is why Agartha has gone for so long and will continue to keep going. Its sense of if you know attitude keeps it alive and spreading. The elite ball knowledge that dog whistle is keeping it alive and going. Its influence spreading over music, songs that were once considered white girl music now has this sort of far-right esoteric vibe to it. Yet, I still love Agartha songs and the memes and all the jokes. I hope this video gave you some clarity on the topic. Clarity. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm glad you guys liked this little schizophrenic rant of mine. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. More right-wing and actual Christian content is coming soon. Anyway, thank you for watching.